probably should have got this situated before I hit the go live button, but that's as situated as I'm gonna be right now. So, hello, good afternoon, everybody. As y'all see, this little view is a little weird, but sis is...
Use the right 2 lanes to keep right onto I-85 North toward Charlotte.
I need to make sure y'all hear me too, because I'm doing multitasking today. Big time. This view's a little off.
Keep right.
But
for about 21 miles, continue straight.
And do this while I'm on the line. Okay. Kalinda, can you hear me? Because it's hooked up to the Bluetooth. Let me know. And then I'm just going to jump right into my conversation for today. I know the view is a little crazy, but it's because I'm going live while I'm live. Kalinda, can you hear me? Let me know, please. It's funny because I was leaving church today. 21 miles, keep straight. Where you headed? Okay, so y'all gonna be able to hear my background. Okay, anywho, I'm headed, Kalinda, to get my hair braided. We discussed this. Not on the live. Okay, so today's what I'm talking about with my one viewer, Kalinda. I guess this is something meant for you, but not, personally for me. But, since it's me and you on live. One of my clients this week, she was getting her hair done. We were talking. And, y'all, I'm supposed to be coming on live consistently, but I've kind of fell off, I think, the last 2 weeks. So I haven't been as consistent as I should, but it is what it is. Kalinda, yeah, I was gonna do it Friday, but in the interest of time, I have more time today, so I'm not gonna be sitting long and having to go to work. But okay, so today's live, the point of today's live is to talk about, the topic is God knows. Yeah, that's the topic, God knows. But how I got to the topic was, I had a client, we were discussing some things. She was telling me things that, I had said to her a while ago, had come back up to her mind, and she thought about me saying this. And all this week, it's funny that people have been telling me, like, yeah, I remember when you said blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I did say that, because I don't forget things. But it's just funny that people just hold on to little nuggets in different ways. But me and my client were talking, and this was a 7 a.m. client, so bright and early, talking good. And she was kind of filling me in on things that's going on in her life. And the crazy part about it is we got to talking about, like, family members, and, like, how sometimes you have to cut off family members. And the crazy part was, it wasn't even in a negative way. She was just saying how she's matured, and, there's just, as she has established her relationship with God and she understands who God is, she realizes that certain people, including family members, she can't really be around, because they trigger her and make her feel a way that is not of God. And, like, her response and her conversation to them and her attitude, blah, 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 she's kind of protected against them. And I was like, well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You're going to hear people that think, like, oh, that's your mom, or oh, that's your sister, or oh, that's your brother, or your kid. Oh, kid, that hit home, because that just made me think about an instance with my mom. But the point is, even scripturally, Jesus wasn't worried about his family, who is my mother, who is my brother. Like, he was here to complete one sole thing, and that was to spread the gospel of the Lord, and of course to be sacrificed for us. So, long story short, as we started talking about why I said family members had to be cut off and blah, 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 we had gotten to this whole conversation about people doing things and saying things, and especially church people, like wanting to act one way, say this and that, but really conduct themselves in a different manner. And, you know, she simply said, and we said it simultaneously, like, God knows. So the thing is this, like, yes, we're human, and in our human nature, we want to be accepted by those around us, the people that love us, the people that, you know, we might work with, just accepted by humans in general. You know, that's a normal, natural feeling, but to what cost? So as we were talking, and we were talking about God knowing everything, that's when I was like, you know what, that's going to be the topic of my next live. And I can truly attest, like, many people know me from different walks of life. If I don't tell you my business, I don't tell you my business. But it's not a matter of me not telling you my business because I'm trying to hide anything about myself from anybody. I don't entertain people, you know, and I've always been somebody, if I fool with you, I fool with you. If I don't, I don't. It's not a bad thing. But in a one-on-one setting, when the time is appropriate, I can be just as candid or transparent.
Speed check reported ahead on I-85 North.
Candid and transparent about anything. So that's what I was talking about. God knows. Like, God knew you before you were created, before your mama even knew you. He knows the hairs that's on your head. He knows your thoughts before you have them. So what good is it really to front for a man when at the end of the day, God knows, you know? And that thing kind of like hit me in the salon, and it was like really one of them things where I was like, that is the issue, I think, amongst people. And I'll say for me, a transparent thing was at one point I lived a lifestyle that my mom didn't approve of. And I knew deep down inside I was convicted on my own for this lifestyle. Like, I knew the Lord was not pleased with me in what I was doing. And one thing about my mom is when she found this out, she said, you know, this is between you and God. My mom still provided my meals. My mom still made sure I had what I needed for school. My mom still got me to point A, point B. I had somewhere to sleep and lay my head. But this particular choice in life that the Lord knew, I thought, okay, me telling my mom, you know, I thought it was gonna, no, I didn't. I'm lying to myself. I knew that she was not going to be stoked about what I was telling her, but her being my mom and me looking and seeing how other people perceive things and how the world perceives things, I thought like, oh, well, maybe, just maybe this will go down my way. But it wasn't a disadvantage. Now, I was going to say, you know, to my disadvantage or disappointment at the time, but no, it worked out perfectly because she stood 10 toes on what she believed. And she said, you know, that's between you and God. And when she said it, I couldn't even be upset with her. It really, like, shook my own spirit. Like, dang, I already knew this was between me and God, what was going on. But the fact that my mom said it, it was like, Well, there was several different things in my upbringing or childhood that, like, other adults and other people would be like, oh, the way your mom handled that, like, that was a bit much. And honestly, what she did was she stood on truth. One, the word, and two, what she believed. So God, being God, knew what was going on. That was my mom's stance in the situation, and she didn't approve of it. So, again, we all have sinned and fallen short. There's something that everybody has done. All sin is the same except for blasphemy. That's the only sin that's in its own category. There are sins that the Lord says is an abomination to him, but sin is sin. So if you steal, you steal. You kill, you cuss, you whatever. You overeat, all of it. It's all in the same category. You gay, sin is sin. You having sex outside of marriage, before marriage. Matter of fact, you looking at that man because he's fine and you thinking about him in a way, lusting after that man. It's all the same sin, but God knows. So who are we to even be worried about what Tim thinks about you, because at the end of the day, what he thinks does not matter, because God knows, and you're going to have to take account for the things that you've done before God. So I
In
think
about 10 miles, take exit 30 to merge onto I-485 toward Pineville.
Thank you, ma'am. So I think if we can, one, start there, you know, like if you're truly, and I understand everybody's not going to believe in God and blah, 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 blah. But one thing about me is, no matter what season of life that I was in, my heart posture was always coming from a pure place. I might have been living in sin, but the things that I do towards other people is still done, you know, out of love. And I'm not taking away from the sin. The point that I'm getting at when I say that is, there's so many people right now living in filth, or you might be living in filth and still have a good heart, is what I'm saying. So you're still sinning, you're still doing things against God. But there are people who go to church every Sunday and seem to be playing this role of a clean, good life, but your heart is all jacked up and your motives are wrong. So again, back to the premise of the conversation is God knows. So fast forward to my story. I can appreciate what my mom did, because it really showed me, like Jesus, you know, people make excuses for where they are in life. Like, oh, God is a forgiving God. He definitely is. Oh, you know, because this is this and this is this, I can do that. You definitely can. The minute you truly decide to live for the Lord, you know, you're held one to a different standard, and you're accountable for the things that you know. So as you know, you grow. Your heart really is going to tug at you to say, like, oh, this is in alignment with what God does. Simple thing in a relationship. I have sisters. Everybody knows I was raised with 2 sisters. If I know that one of my sisters doesn't like to be bothered in the morning, well, I'm just going to be cuckoo if I go in there and messing with her and expecting anything different from her in the morning, you know? So I just think it's like this. You live your life, you do what you do, but make sure you understand that the only person that you have to truly answer to is the Lord. And it is so much freedom in that, you know, for me. People used to tell me when I moved in with my grandma, people would be like, oh, you're doing A, B, C, and D. And I tell anybody, my mama knows, God knows what I do, you know. So that kind of made me, it took away that fear and that expectation from other people, because 2 of the most important people in my life were God and what my mama thought, because she's the one who raised me, she's the one who helped me get and be who I am. So I never wanted to do anything that would reflect badly on her, and I never wanted to do anything to disappoint her. So while she was living, she knew probably more than she wanted to know about me. But that goes back to me just being transparent, because I really have this understanding that God knows. Transparency isn't a hard place for me to be in. It might be challenging for somebody, because trust is a big deal. In order to be transparent, sometimes you have to trust. You might have trust issues with people, but at the end of the day, for me, I trust God. I trust what He's saying in His word to be so. Therefore, I know He knows everything. That gives me the confidence to stand on who I am and just be transparent amongst people. So, I had one of my clients this week, middle schooler. She was like, you are so open and you can just talk about anything. And that's with experience, one, confidence, and I understand and I know who I am and what, you know, what's going on. So there's no need of me to lie about anything, one, because God knows. Like, what's the point of me saying to somebody, I'm gonna use my sister, hey Bree, I'm A, B, C, or D. What's the point of me going to her and telling her one thing when I know deep down, because then you're going to have to continue to lie about it, you know, and then that forces you to be somebody you're really not. So the thing is, just be transparent and open, because everybody who is human has struggled with something, period, point blank. But the point is, when you're choosing to live and do better, you really do live and do better. And when you don't, that's really on you. I'm not going to speak on that. That's a whole nother topic. But when you know better, you do better. And God is constantly evolving and constantly calling us to go higher and higher. And part of being able to do so is just looking in the mirror and being truthful with yourself so that you can be truthful with others. And that's the dilemma. When you're more worried about what other people are saying or thinking, I really do think you even lie to yourself and you believe the lie, which is sad because, again, God knows. So who are you really fooling? You got to ask yourself, why do you do that, you know? But that's not what this is about. It was really to get on the fact that God knows. Secondly, with God knowing, anybody who's ever met me, you know, people pick on me all the time, whether it's, oh, you like a grandma, or oh, you da-da-da-da-da. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I still stand on who I am. I know where I've messed up. I know that I, just like anybody else, can't judge anybody because I've been there and I've done that, you know. And even sometimes in my life now, things aren't necessarily as much as a struggle as they were, because I'm just in this place where I've matured enough to say, okay, God, my life is yours. I truly have repented and turned away from these things, so help me to walk in the way that you want me to walk in. And I'm able to open up and share these situations, and I'm relatable. First of all, I know what I've done and what I haven't done, and it's not a matter of don't do this and don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because like a child, you tell a kid no, and they're going to go run and do exactly what you told them not to do. But when you're really caring and loving for people, and you know where God has brought you, it gives you that transformative ability to be more relatable and receptive to people, you know, because of that relationship and that love. You really genuinely care about the people around you, and you want them to do better. So people will tell you all the time, if they talking to me about a certain situation, I'm gonna keep it real with you. You know, at a certain point, it's like a kid. If you don't know no better, once you learn, once your parent rears you and shows you to do better, you're supposed to do better. It's the same concept in life. So again, God knows, but you, people of God, are called to help others. And you can't do that when you're acting like you're above and beyond reproach. Because again, we have all messed up and dropped the ball. You can ask me how. I can sit there and share it with you. But the point is, when you truly begin to be in a relationship with somebody, and I'm going to go back, one, relationship with God, it transforms you. Like, you're like, okay, I've got to do better. I know that where I'm at, the Lord says he don't want me to do this. So what am I going to do? You know, like, I'm really taking that serious. So back to that thing in the beginning that I was saying with my mom, you know, luckily before she died, I was able to walk out of that lifestyle into the lifestyle that's more pleasing, one, for God, pleasing to myself, getting to know myself and understanding like what went wrong where, and what made me base a certain thing on a certain perception. Just being truthful, honestly, just getting transparent, taking all that off, and just realizing like, okay, at the core of it, this is who I am. This is who I'm called to be. This is what you've been saying all along. So that's what we have to do as Christians. Like, we really got to stand on what the word says, but we can't be so nose in the air where we're not being transparent and truthful with those who God places in our paths. Again, I can rock out with just about anybody. I'm a very relatable, down-to-earth person, and I understand everybody's at a different level. Okay, y'all gotta hold on, because right now, Bill Earnhardt is in full effect. Got to check these windows, mirrors. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, that's it. I just came here to say God knows. So whatever it is you're dealing with, you know, if you want to do better, if you want to come out of a thing, cool. If you comfortable where you at, that's cool too. But don't, for people who really are saying like, oh, I'm a child of God, blah, 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 you really have to sit with yourself and be truthful about what the word says, who you are, and where you are in all of that. And you definitely have to be honest. You know, honesty is the best policy. That's like a little elementary school phrase at school, at home, in life. But you really got to sit there and be honest with yourself. And sometimes it's ugly. I've sat with myself on plenty of things like, dang, that's jacked up. Like, that part of you is really jacked up. But the beauty of it is God knows. And all you got to do is say, okay, God, this place in me ain't where it's supposed to be. So I need you to help me get it right. And then if you need other people, which we all need other people, you pray about those people and God will cross those people in your paths. But we all have to understand that when people come in our paths, like, it's season, reason, lifetime one, and we all are dealing with our own issues. Nobody's better than anybody else, so there's no room for judgment. The only place that only person that has a place to judge anybody is God. And at the end of the day, we're going to be accountable for giving that account, you know, for every little thing that we've done, which is kind of scary. But in reality, you know, that's the best part, you know, about giving your life to God and truly repenting, because he throws that stuff away in the sea of forgetfulness, meaning like, he's not going to sit here. If you turn your life around, yes, judgment is cast. Yes, you know, he's going to take it. You got to give an account for it. But at the same time, you're made new. You're a new creature, you know, when you come to God. So every day you have to strive to be better. You can't say like, oh, I believe in God, but you still act a certain way. That's like in a relationship. If I say, hey, Didi, I see Didi's name on here. Hey, Didi, I love you. I can't just say I love you and my actions don't line up with that. You know, in a relationship, it's twofold. You know, it's not what you say, it's how you live, it's an action. So, with God knows, it's a call to action. I challenge you guys to kind of get, you don't have to tell me anything, but you got to get transparent with yourself so you can see, like, okay, is who I am lining up with who I'm supposed to be? What I'm doing, are my actions, are my words, are my deeds, you know, lining up with who I am? So, yeah, I really wanted to just challenge y'all with that, because it's a lot of people out here, which is sad, you know what I mean? Like, it's social media, don't get me wrong, we can be whoever we want to be. But what is the point of projecting off something when you yourself are jacked up on the inside? So, that's just my little nugget. Wanted to come and remind you that God knows. So it ain't no need to try to be anything more or less than who you are. There's so much freedom. That's why I can be who I am. And I love that. That's why I think, you know, when I show up to a place or in a room, people are like, oh, you don't meet a stranger. No, I don't. And I'm not. Do I like to be around people all the time? No, I love people, but I do like time to myself too. But it makes it easier for me to just show up and be myself. What you see is what you get. I don't have to put on an air or a front for anybody. And there's freedom in that. So God knows, and the challenge is for you to get with yourself so you can know, one, who you are. And yeah, the best way, the best thing that I did to do that is to literally sit with God. That's another story on a different day too. We can talk identity all day long, but God knows. So you need to make sure you understand you ain't getting over on nobody. But yeah, I love y'all. I thank y'all for y'all time. I'm about to jump off this live. That's my piece. And hopefully I can get better consistent with coming to you guys and just kind of seeing what the Lord has on my heart. And to my client, I thank you so much for the conversation we had, because it was like, ding, ding, it set my light bulb off. Like, you need to talk about that. You done fell off. Get back at it. So it's a challenge to myself too to come on here and just say my little piece. But I hope you guys are having an awesome Sunday. Your girl about to go and get this head transformed. So in the beginning, if you didn't catch the beginning of this live and you go back and you see me and my sister kind of like, that's what that's about. But yeah, I'm gonna get off this phone now. Thank y'all for helping me get on up this road. I'll talk to you later.